Bitcoin, the currency, is nothing short of spectacular. Bitcoin, the commodity, is arguably even better since it can store value over time. Bitcoin, the protocol, is unique because it allows for free and instant remittances across the entire planet. Bitcoin, the network, is a wonder of the world, ticking away like a psychopathic clock. Tick-tock, next block. But above all is Bitcoin the idea. Bitcoin is an idea so powerful, no one on the planet can fathom its implications. Let's explore. Evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins coined the word meme in his book The Selfish Gene in 1976. Whereas a gene is a self-replicating biological structure, memes are self-replicating ideas, or cultural genes. Ideas, like genes, either survive and reproduce or perish. Genes and memes, well adapted to their environments, are more likely to reproduce and survive than those ill-adapted. Memes evolve by natural selection, analogous to biological evolution. They spread through behaviors they generate in their hosts. If an idea is exciting or funny, the recipient may choose to pay it forward, increasing the chances of a meme's survival. Some ideas go extinct, while others survive, spread, and mutate. The perpetuation of ideas depends on how well they perform and proliferate. Whether the idea is good or bad for the host's survival matters little, so long as the idea survives. Ideas can exist in symbiosis with their hosts, or act like parasitic entities. Either way, they have an evolutionary process of their own. Put another way, bad ideas can stay alive for a long time. Here is an example of a parasitic meme. Inflationary currencies. They exist because people are made to believe that inflation is necessary for a free market to function. The meme is potent because it gives its hosts the illusion of success and wealth. In reality, inflation always benefits those closest to the monetary spigot at the expense of everyone else. The most successful memes remain in the culture's meme pool and spread like beneficial biological genes, whereas unfit ones often stall and fade away. Thus, memes that prove more effective at surviving and replicating stay in the meme pool, regardless of how much value they provide for their hosts. The longer a meme or an idea stays in a brain or culture, the higher its chances of survival. A meme's lifetime is extended every time its hosts broadcast it to other minds. A meme that increases the lifespan of its hosts will generally survive longer. Conversely, a meme that shortens the lifespan of its hosts will tend to disappear faster. But bad ideas can also stay around for a long time. Suicide bombing is an example of a meme detrimental to its host. Even though it shortens the life of said host, it survives. It survives because of the attention paid to its host's death, not because it helps the host survive. A similar example from biology would be the sting of the common honeybee. The individual bee dies after using its stinger. The swarm survives, as do the genes required to spawn suicidal stingers. Memes reproduce by copying themselves from one mind to another. Exposing your brain to a meme makes you a vessel for the evolution of that idea. Now, what separates Bitcoin from other memes? First of all, Bitcoin is nothing but a meme. Bitcoin is the idea that a fixed set of rules exists around which we can build societies. It is a titanic base layer of absolute truth, robust enough to carry the whole world economy on its shoulders. But at its core, it's just an agreement on a fixed set of rules. Moreover, Bitcoin acts as a spawning pool for other memes. It generates other memes that help their parent meme, Bitcoin, thrive and grow. How Bitcoin owners perceive Bitcoin doesn't matter to the idea itself. A brain that knows about Bitcoin is a part of the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin, the idea, is bigger than Bitcoin, the computer network. The beauty of this idea is that it grows even when people argue against it. Every time someone utters the word Bitcoin, the idea spreads. People remember hearing it and become more curious about it as it rises in value over time. They notice that it's not going away and that it keeps coming back stronger after each crash. Bitcoin inescapably weaves itself into every Bitcoin user. When knowing is owning, the line between a Bitcoin and the human being that holds it fades away. If you lose a private key, you lose the Bitcoins that key unlocks forever. In other words, if the only location the key to your Bitcoins exists is your mind, you are your Bitcoins. If you fail to pass your Bitcoins on before you pass away, they are permanently removed from the market. When people take their coins to the grave, they help increase the scarcity of all the remaining coins on the market, which eventually increases the value of the remaining coins. Since the discovery of Bitcoin, there is no longer a clear-cut barrier between the informational and the physical realm. There is no boundary between memes and physical objects. Bitcoin has illuminated how our thoughts about the world and the world itself are inseparable. Everything humanity accomplished was preceded by an idea in a single individual's brain. The most potent ideas can make large groups work toward common goals. Organized religion is one such example. So is the Enlightenment. Every intersubjective belief system that has ever existed emerged from an idea. Whether they accurately represent reality or not has little bearing on their ability to change the course of humanity. Powerful ideas change the world. Like everything else in society, the fiat system began as an idea. But if the lion's share of the Earth's population understood how the fiat system works, the system wouldn't work. The fiat monetary system is dependent on people's ignorance. In this regard, Bitcoin is the literal opposite of the fiat system. Bitcoin revolves around people's understanding of it. Consider, for example, the 21 million coin supply cap. If you know just one thing about Bitcoin, that's probably it. The circle turned out to be the perfect shape for the wheel, and Bitcoin turned out to be the ideal arrangement for sound money. An arrangement that never had to be perfect, just good enough to last forever. As hyper-Bitcoinization unfolds, some jurisdictions will try to ban Bitcoin. It is important to remember how absurd this is. Bitcoin is nothing but mathematics and communication. It is nothing but an idea. Making Bitcoin illegal is as ridiculous as making calculus illegal. All you need to receive any amount of Bitcoin is a Bitcoin address, a random 256-bit number. If you toss a coin 256 times, you create a Bitcoin wallet. Heads or tails, ones or zeros. How could a law prevent people from generating random numbers? Such a law would be highly absurd. A Bitcoin transaction is a message saying, I move X amount of Satoshis from this address to that address. Here's my private key allowing me to do this. Expressed in simple mathematical terms. Banning wallet software makes no sense. Banning a particular message type makes no sense. And banning mathematics makes no sense. By erasing the distinction between knowing and owning, Bitcoin illuminates an often forgotten fact about trading. All trades are communication, and all communication is trade. Bitcoin points out what should have been obvious all along, namely, that there can be no freedom of expression in a society that doesn't allow free trade. Freedom of expression must include every non-violent way of communicating. A law banning Bitcoin hints at what kind of a country you live in. So the question arises, are you free? We live in a world where fiat money dominates the world economy. These currencies have in common that they're all inflationary, meaning that central authorities have the right to issue new units. Prices in these currencies continually rise over time, but as technology advances, prices ought to decline. The only reason they don't is because of money printing. The long-term implications of Bitcoin's absolute scarcity are difficult to predict. We simply can't wrap our heads around ever-declining prices. We can only imagine what such a society would look like. Bitcoin has been described as a bridge to the other side. Almost all Bitcoiners agree that our current system is flawed, that we need a way out. Bitcoin is that way out, the bridge to the other side. But what's on the other side of the bridge? The answer may surprise you. The world on the opposite side of that bridge, the hyper-Bitcoinized world, is Bitcoin's real scaling solution. With truth in the base layer of society, the need for money will go down, not up. Every good is a service. We don't crave money, we want what we think money will buy us. We don't want the sofa, we want the ability to sit on a couch whenever we feel like sitting. To put it another way, we want access to the abundance that technological progress enables. Inflationary money is a force in the opposite direction. It necessitates higher prices and thus less access to the riches that technology unlocks. It creates an elite class that gets richer over time at the expense of everyone else. Deflationary money does the opposite. Deflationary money incentivizes people to save rather than overconsume, over time giving more people access to abundance because of falling prices. If you postpone your spending, your Bitcoins will buy you more. In other words, fewer transactions transpire in a deflationary economy, producing an economy based on quality over quantity. Now think about how you interact with your family and friends. You exchange information and share experiences with your loved ones all the time, never exchanging a single Satoshi.
Hey Rick, I have to make a project for the science fair this weekend. You think you could help me out?
Whatever.
This is the economic nature of a well-functioning community. The Bitcoin community is no different. In the Bitcoin community, people tend to be generous, volunteering their time and effort. Mutual trust means no need for money when exchanging information, experiences, and services. This video, for example, is the result of a voluntary collaboration between Bitcoiners. We need money to enable transactions between people that don't know or trust each other. Know Your Customer policies, or KYC, are bad jokes at best because they undermine the very purpose of money. Their advertised intent is to prevent money laundering. Their actual goal is to track and record people's behavior. But when hyper-Bitcoinization is upon us, people from all castes of society will be incentivized to help one another. Ironically, Don't Trust Verify somehow unlocked an ability to trust each other on a scale previously unknown to humankind. Here's the kicker. We've actually had this ability all along. Bitcoin private keys are keys to our hearts, allowing us to wear them on our sleeves in public. When we cross the bridge to the hyper-Bitcoinized world, we will find honesty and trust, and the division of labor will emerge spontaneously. The Beatles were right. All you need is love. They just hadn't found the correct equation for it. When you realize that your stack of Satoshis is your most precious possession, it makes sense to trade away everything else you've got before you spend your Bitcoins, including your time, efforts, and even your reputational capital. Bitcoin is just an agreement on a fixed set of rules. Like the rules of chess, the laws of Bitcoin cannot change unless everyone agrees that the change is for the better. Put another way, Bitcoin can never get worse, only better. It either stays the way it is or it improves. You can play all sorts of chess variants if you want to, but most players play by the rules around which a consensus has formed over time. If you change the rules of chess, you lose the network effect. The same is true for Bitcoin. We can all benefit from the rules if we agree on what the rules are. If we don't, we can play Chess Cash or Chess Satoshi's Vision instead, all alone on a board that's too big. Or Chess Ethereum, whose rules can change mid-game. Bitcoin unlocks the true power of human cooperation. The need for smaller transactions disappears as people's time preference is lowered and your ability to love thy neighbor increases. Commercialism will be replaced by altruism on the opposite side of the bridge. The ability to make micropayments fast and cheap to anyone in the world will still be there because of Layer 2 scaling solutions, but people will rarely need to use them at all. Over time, Bitcoin will make people realize a profound truth, namely that material wealth doesn't make you happy. That which you can do without, you own. Bitcoin is a total reimagination of what human society can be, disguised as magic internet money. In other words, Bitcoin is the ultimate Trojan horse. We have a bright orange future ahead of us, and the faster we embrace it, the better off we'll be. Bitcoin is the most potent meme of our era, and it has just begun to propagate. Because of how memes spread, nothing in this world is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. As Victor Hugo once said, Bitcoin is that idea.